Hi, I'm Anika Chapin, Signature's Director of Artistic Development, and welcome to Into the Words. One of the most beloved musicals in the American musical theater canon is Fiddler on the Roof by Joseph Stein, Jerry Bach, and Sheldon Harnick. And one of the most beloved songs in this beloved show is Miracle of Miracles, the ebullient song sung by the poor tailor Motel when he gets Tevye's blessing to marry his love, Tevye's daughter Title. The song captures the irrepressible joy of a man happy beyond what he ever believed possible, but it also shows us a lot about Motel and how much this engagement means to him. Before I dive into the analysis, I wanted to tell the story of how this song came to be. When the original production of Fiddler on the Roof was being developed out of town, the characters of Motel and Perchik had songs that were too similar in tone, both secular songs about how much love had changed them. And so one of them needed to change. The actor playing Perchik, Bert Convy, was a better singer than Austin Pendleton, who played Motel, and Convy liked Motel's song better and wanted to sing it himself. So Convy pointed out that Motel was a more religious character and should have a song that reflected that. The creators agreed and wrote Miracle of Miracles for Motel and gave the other song, Now I Have Everything, to Perchik to sing in the second act. So Convy got the song he wanted to sing, but his scheme backfired a little because Miracle of Miracles was an even better song and became one of the biggest hits on the show. And it's the perfect song for Motel. So let's dive in. This song takes place after Titel's father, Tevye, has given his blessing for Motel and Titel to marry, despite the fact that Motel is very poor and a far richer man wants to marry her, and despite the fact that Motel and Titel have broken with tradition to make a match themselves, instead of relying on their parents or a matchmaker. Motel has known Titel since they were children, but he is a very timid and awkward character, has fumbled almost every encounter with Tevye to ask for Titel's hand. But when he finally gets his courage up and convinces Tevye, he is transformed. In this song, we get to see a gorgeous illustration of just how overjoyed Motel is to marry Titel, but also that Tevye was right to give his blessing. We see that not only is Motel sweet, humble, and learned, something Tevye wanted for Titel, but that his love for Titel and successful campaign for her hand has turned him into a man ready for marriage. So let's dive in.
It was a miracle! It was a miracle! Wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles, God took a Daniel once again, stood by his side and miracle of miracles, walked him through the lion's den. Wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles, I was afraid that God would frown. But like he did so long ago in Jericho, God just made a wall fall down.
Right off the bat, we can hear in the music just how joyous and overwhelmed Motel is. The music comes in with this fast, regular rhythm, like an excited heartbeat. And Motel starts right in mid-thought with these lyrics. These ideas come pouring out of him a mile a minute, a sweet comedic contrast to the bumbling man we had previously seen. The melody helps illustrate all these thoughts and excitement, too. Wonder of Wonders climbs up in the melody like it's a staircase to heaven, and then Miracle of Miracles loops around with this sort of chaotic joy. The melody will continue to do this, mirroring both the action of the plot. Notice how Walk Him Through the Lion's Den steps up in melody like it's striding right up to the lion himself, then backs off as the threat is neutralized. And the same line on God Just Made a Wall Come Down shows us musically the height of the wall, then brings it down. But even in the height of his excitement, Motel doesn't focus on himself. Instead, he goes to God, comparing himself to other biblical characters and stories in which God helps a deeply unlikely thing happen. Motel clearly didn't think he would succeed in winning Titel's hand, and it's frankly adorable that victory is for him at the scale of these epic biblical stories. And the only time he mentions himself here, and not a biblical character, is to say that he had been afraid of God's reaction, which completely tracks with the character we have known thus far, who has literally been cowering in fear and asking Tevye not to yell at him.
When Moses softened Pharaoh's heart, that was a miracle. When God made the waters of the Red Sea part, that was a miracle too. But of all God's miracles, large and small, the most miraculous one of all is that out of a worthless lump of clay, God has made a man today.
After this whirlwind initial section, Motel slows down, but only a little, to a slightly more contemplative place. And I love the line, "That was a miracle," because it's a little shorter than you think it will be. It's a little abrupt and awkward. Like Motel is really stumbling actively through these thoughts and stories out loud. It's interesting that Muddle is doing this. It's a tenet of Jewish scholarship to study in conversation with others. So although Muddle isn't conversing with Title here, his working through these stories out loud and applying them to his life is not only embracing God, but also Judaism itself. He's revealing himself to be a humble, thoughtful scholar, which is exactly what Tevye said he wanted for Title, a learned man. And he is sharing this with Title, his friend since infancy. She is the one he ponders all this with. She is his equal. Although it's interesting that this song comes right after engagement has been so much about Muddle himself and about the Bible, with Title sort of left out. But I think that's on purpose. We'll get to that in a minute. After pondering these biblical miracles, large and small, we get to the main realization of the song. Muddle realizes that his miracle has transformed him from, as other characters describe him, a nothing, to a grown-up man, just like God made Adam out of clay. Muddle's love has made him whole. His successful argument to Tevye and his willingness to break tradition to win his love has proven him strong, and he is ready to start his life as a husband and father. And the music gives this moment its full due. The first two lines are anticipatory minor, and then it steps away a little and has only these two reverent chords on "out of a worthless lump of clay." Like he's truly giving a service, telling a holy story, and then kicks right back into the joy of God has made a man today, with these excited little swoops of music after.
Wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles, God took a tailor by the hand, turned him around, and miracle of miracles led him to the promised land. When David slew Goliath, yes, that was a miracle. When God gave us manna in the wilderness, that was a miracle too. But of all God's miracles, large and small, the most miraculous one of all is the one I thought could never be. God has given you to me.
After Muddle has had this moment of personal realization of what this engagement has done for him, the song goes back to the place at the beginning with more of these epic stories. But now, instead of comparing himself to these other biblical stories, he has made himself the protagonist, although he still refers to himself with a slight remove, a tailor. Even over the course of the song, Muddle has grown in confidence. He is the star of his own story and worthy of God's attentions now. And now that he's realized this, he brings the song to its perfect conclusion. For ultimately, this miracle isn't about God or even about Muddle, it's about Title. The miracle of miracles, the biggest and most wonderful thing, the thing that even religious Muddle had no faith might be possible, wasn't about him becoming a strong, confident man, or about him breaking tradition to advocate for a marriage that goes against the rules of his society, or him convincing Tevye that he, a poor tailor, is a better match for his daughter than a rich butcher. The miracle is that Muddle gets to spend his life with Title. And I love that this song slows down a little to let this ultimate miracle have its own space. You can hear Muddle's wonder and awe at the fact that he gets to be with her. And after a whole song where Muddle has talked about Daniel, David, and then a tailor, finally it's deeply intimate and personal. He owns it. As he sings to Title, "You and me, God has given you to me." The rest of the song and the rush and the joy and the excitement and the religious scholarship and the confidence and the journey has all led here to the awe and glowing joy at his love. So in this wonderful song, we have watched Muddle come into his own, but still be overwhelmed with love for Title. It's a beautiful song, so full of joy and love, and it makes us know that Tevye was right to give Title's hands to Muddle, despite his questionable prospects. His love for Title and his willingness to advocate for that love has proved himself worthy of it, even to himself.